As a second heatwave in less than 2 weeks descended on France, we took delivery of the material that would transform our attic into something resembling actual rooms. Whilst everyone else sheltered in the shade of the trees or headed to the beach, we decided the best thing to do was to roll up our sleeves and embrace the heat.
Love locked out in all the cold and rain. Love locked out.
So today we're doing something very exciting. I'm putting in the internal walls in the upstairs. And we are starting off by putting in these small walls around the outside of the space to join the sloping ceilings to the floor, so that we hide a little bit of the exterior walls and give a little bit of a space for insulation and also to pass certain piping and electrics. I have built some internal walls before downstairs in the cab, but that was mainly with wood. So today I'm going to be using some metal structures, which is the common format they use in France. So it's going to be my first time doing that, so I might make a bit of mistakes here and there, so bear with me if it does look a bit janky. Well, somehow I've done something very wrong. I'm not sure exactly what went wrong, but I put a laser level on the top rail here and it is completely not level at all. I think what I must have done wrong is did the vertical aligning first. I should have done the horizontal aligning. So I'm going to have to tear this down and start again. It's always the way. The first one never goes to plan. So fortunately learnings for the next ones and we'll see what happens. But let's get this down and start again.
I forget to do the little ordinary things that everyone ought to do. I'm living in a kind of daydream. I'm happy as a king, and foolish though it may seem, to me, that's everything. The mere idea of you belonging here for you. You'll never know how close the moment.
So far, putting up the rails isn't too bad. It's going in pretty okay. The only annoying thing is putting in these railings on the low eaves or the low slope here, because it's trying to get into the gaps and then leaning over and trying to drill it in, and it's just really painful for my back. I've been having quite a lot of back pain in the evenings, which is not a good sign. But other than that, it's coming along okay, which is good.
Via, via, vieni via di qui. Niente più ti lega a questi luoghi, neanche questi fiori azzurri. Via, via, neanche questo tempo grigio, pieno di musiche e di uomini che ti son piaciuti. It's wonderful, it's wonderful, it's wonderful. Good luck, my baby, it's wonderful, it's wonderful, it's wonderful. I dream of you. Chips, chips. Do 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 do. Chi-boom. Do 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 do. Chi-boom, chi-boom, boom. Do 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 do. Via, via, vieni via con me. Entra in questo amore buio, non perderti per niente al mondo. Via, via, non perderti per niente al mondo. Lo spettacolo d'arte varia di uno innamorato di te. It's wonderful, it's wonderful, it's wonderful. Good luck, my baby, it's wonderful, it's wonderful, it's wonderful. I dream of you. Chips, chips. Do 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 do. Chi-boom, chi-boom, boom. Do 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 do. Chi-boom, chi-boom, boom. Do 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 do. Via, via, vieni via con me. Entra in questo amore buio, pieno di uomini. Via, entra e fatti un bagno caldo. C'è un accappatoio azzurro, fuori piove un mondo freddo. That's wonderful, that's wonderful, that's wonderful. Good luck, my baby, that's wonderful, it's wonderful, that's wonderful. I dream of you. Chips, chips, chips. Do 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 do. Chi-boom, chi-boom, boom. Do 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 do. Chi-boom, chi-boom, boom. Do 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 do.
I think that's about as much as I can fit in to this week. I've reached the end of all of this metal studs that I bought from the store, and unfortunately our car has chosen this exact moment to give up the ghost, so I cannot go pick up any more until it is fixed. So hopefully there's not a massive problem there, but I think it's a good place to stop anyway. I really didn't expect to get this far. I'm pretty happy with all the progress that I've made. Actually seemed to be one of the only jobs that has seemed to gone okay upstairs. Fingers crossed, because now I'm kind of worried that something is going to go horrendously wrong and I've done something terribly wrong and I'm going to have to redo everything. But apart from bending over into all of the weird little eaves locations and trying to strain my back the whole time, the actual placement of the studs was pretty easy. So now I've done roughly the master bedroom framing. I'm still missing the wall to the bathroom that's going to be closed off there, and then we've got the door needs to be framed over a little bit. The second bedroom is pretty much done. I obviously just need to do the false ceiling in the hallway and a little bit update on that. So obviously with all the heat that we've been getting in Bordeaux recently and reading a lot of your guys' comments, we have decided to invest in some air conditioning up here. Basically what we're going to do is in the hallway, we're going to create like a small false ceiling, and we're going to hide the air conditioning unit in there, and then there's going to be exits and entry points in the two bedrooms through a concealed kind of grill in the upper plasterboard, so we can keep everything looking nice and a bit more pretty and in keeping with the nice beams and the traditional nature we want to keep up here. But the framing is actually, it's pretty incredible how much it's transformed the space. I was actually worried that with the framing it would kind of shrink the space a little bit, but actually it's done a little bit of the opposite. You can now really visualize the rooms, and it's quite exciting where you can see exactly how big the rooms are going to be and what the layout is kind of going to be. It's still a little bit of way to go, but I'm really excited for that, and it just shows that we do have a decent space in here even though we have the low ceiling height. One final thing before we move on from this segment is I just wanted to say a thanks for everyone who gave their feedback around what we want to do in the bathroom last week. If you weren't aware of what I asked for last week, is that in the bathroom, I got a bit frustrated because I realized that the vanity placement that we wanted to do originally, which was going to be under the eaves or the slanting of the wall, was not going to be possible because we'd have to create a false wall and move the vanity so far forward that we'd lose so much space in the bathroom it wouldn't be possible to like walk past and open doors. A lot of you guys gave your feedback about what we can do under that in that space. Most people said some kind of linen storage, which I think is a great idea, which I think was what we're going to do. A number of you guys raised your concerns that we were just moving the vanity because we were worried about the mirror placement. And it was a little bit about the mirror placement. It was also about the slope of the ceiling as well. And I will try and give you guys a little look into that now, just to show you what I mean by that. And so here in front of me right now is where we wanted to put the vanity. So you can see right now where I'm standing, my back is basically to the back of the wall where the bathroom would be. So what I was worried about and what we are worried about is that basically in order to get a placement for a wall so that we can have a vanity here and just use it ergonomically, we would have to move the wall so far towards me that here this passageway would be so small. So I explained it a bit wrong, and yes, it was a little bit about the mirror placement as well, but it's also about the usability of the wall and the actual vanity. Because, for example, if I just put the wall, let's say here, and had a vanity about here, when I'm using the vanity, it's quite inconvenient for me. It feels very claustrophobic almost. It's workable, but it's just not the best. And with the taps and everything, I just personally think it wouldn't be great. Okay, so this is the opposite view of where I was just standing. What we're gonna do is put a wall here, closing off the bedroom side, so we can make a long wall here. And we just have the vanity here. So we've got enough space to move backwards, forwards, sideways, etc. And we've also got this nice space here to put a mirror. Would love your guys' thoughts on it as well. Maybe put some early designs up on screen now, see what you guys think about them. That is basically it. Yeah, we'll see where we get to next time.
Okay, so today I am super happy to be in the cellar because it's really, really hot in Bordeaux. So I'm glad to spend the afternoon in here. And for once, I am going to be the one doing some woodworking. Don't get too excited. We're going to be doing something really simple, but that's a project I've been wanting to do for a while. So I want to make a little upholstered footstool for the living room. And so for that, the first step is to create essentially like a little wooden box where then we're going to put the foam and then the fabric on top. And so it's going to be a very simple structure, and Hugo is not here. I'm going to improvise, and it doesn't need to be pretty. It doesn't need to be very smart. It just needs to be relatively solid, though. If someone sits on it, they don't fall through, because everything will be covered by the fabric anyway. So I'm going to do that. I've got a few pieces of wood, and I'm going to try to make it happen. So then we can get to the fun part, which will be upholstering the footstool. Okay, so now I've cut the foam. I've used a knife. I've seen everyone online using this like electric knife, like something you use for like maybe roast meat or something like that. And I thought I didn't need it because it's pretty easy to cut, but I'm wondering if I should have because the knife left a pretty jagged edge. So I'm hoping that with this additional padding, you won't see it too much. But if not, it's okay because I've got enough foam to redo it, basically, if this doesn't work out. So now I'm gonna use this spray glue, I guess, to stick this to the wooden box. Oh, it's pretty quick. The base is now done and I have to stop now because I'm still waiting for the fabric, but hopefully it should come in a couple of days. So yeah, hard to see if it's gonna work out, but I love this kind of projects. So I'm quite happy, even if I have to do it again. You agree? Do you like it? She's not very impressed, as per usual. So for this step, it seems to be pretty straightforward. So you take your fabric and you put it the wrong side up with a tiny bit of fabric just at the bottom of the piping. So it looks like this, essentially. And then you are stapling right against the cord, because then you're going to be pulling it down. You can see I've moved the piping a little bit. It's not perfect. And then your fabric is going to be flush. I have to redo that one.
Would be good.
Yep. That's quite light actually. I could have done it by myself. And right here.
Good?
Yeah.